Good evening. I'll call the meeting to order, and what we'll start with is our invocation, and please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Today's invocation will be offered by Pastor Howard Weidman. Good evening. From the Fellowship Bible Church in Hartland. Good evening.
Heavenly Father, tonight I acknowledge that you are sovereign, and in your sovereignty you put into position those who lead our nation, our state, and our community. And I thank you for those who lead. And tonight I would ask, Father, that you might grant to them your wisdom, and through your wisdom that they might have discretion and discernment and clarity through the decisions that they'll make tonight as they hear those that are presenting opportunities that they would like to have seen in our community. I pray, Father, that they might have the wisdom to know how to lead our community for its best interest. And we'll thank you, and I ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, whom I serve. Amen.
Thank you. And we'll do the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I apologize, Pastor.
Thank you. Good evening. I'll have the clerk please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Clerk Hopkins is here. Treasurer Horning?
Here.
Trustee Kalani?
Here.
Trustee Germain is absent. Trustee Harper?
Here.
Trustee Petrucci?
Here.
Supervisor Fountain?
Here.
We have quorum of the board. We also have present Township Manager James Wickman.
Thank you. Item number 5 is approval of our meeting agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Trustee Kalani, second by Trustee Petrucci. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next is call to the public. Anybody this evening that call to the public? Good evening. If you'd like to, please state your name for us, please, and stand at the podium. That'd be great. Thank you.
I'm David Mahako, and my wife and I live at 2050 Birch Street. We've been there 10 years. She just retired this year from teaching at the middle school at Door Creek. We love Hartland. But we had an incident on the 18th of September. Someone broke into our home and robbed us. And although the material possessions, we miss, and some family heirlooms, what we really miss, I guess, was a sense of security and safety that we just kind of took for granted until we discovered somebody had been in our home, ransacked it, and in broad daylight. And so I guess that's what we feel we lost, was that sense of safety. And I have to say I wasn't pleased with response time from the time we reported it to 911 until the state police got there. I stopped in the next day, and Mr. Wickman was in a meeting, and so David Campbell was nice enough to give me his time and took notes, wrote an email to James, CC'd it to me, and you were in communication, I believe, with the board. And so we appreciate that, and having served on a school board in the previous community I lived in Michigan, I just want to thank you men and ladies for serving on boards. There's other things you could be doing tonight, so your community appreciates that. But at the same time, I guess want to encourage you to try to maybe take the lead on resolving the impasse that exists between the Sheriff's Department and the county and patrol here in Hartland. I've seen it talked about in the papers in the past, and if citizens are aware of that, I'm sure criminals are as well. And so to know that there's a slower response time than in the past is something I would like to see addressed and resolved. James informed me that the average response time is 13 minutes and 40 seconds, and I know ours was over an hour. And now that my wife's retired, she's home more, and I just wonder, I can't help wonder and worry a little bit, what would have happened if they would have broke in during the day, caught her there, and I'm not sure how they would have responded to that. So we do have a security system now, but I have to say I'm a little concerned about the response time if we have another incident. So that's my concern, and I appreciate you hearing that. And did you have any questions for me at this point?
We typically don't have a response during the call of public, but all of us were taking notes, so we'll This is an issue that we've spent a lot of time on.
Okay.
We're still working on.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Call to the public. Good evening.
Evening. Very well said. I'm not as eloquent as him. My name is Melanie Bartley. I live down the road. I'm here. I represent a group of residents that are concerned about the traffic on the M59 corridor. A lot of you knew that we were coming. We originated on a Facebook page called Hartland Moms. There's 1,200 members on that page, and a number of them were very concerned when someone posted something about someone making an illegal U-turn in front of them, and everyone responded with their own story of people making illegal U-turns in front of them on Hartland Road and M59. We're here today to ask the township for your support while we work with MDOT to get some changes made to improve the traffic flow. The spots specifically we're concerned about are at M59 and Hartland Road, where people are making the illegal left U-turn there. And at Blaine Road intersection, they're cutting off people coming off of Blaine Road. And then at the Clark and LaKenna turnarounds, and the illegal use of them as 2 lanes, and the blind spots there if you're trying to go from westbound to eastbound. It's a very dangerous spot to try to turn out if there's any amount of traffic. We have the support tonight. Sorry. You guys all drive this every day, so you know that there are problems. So it was not difficult to find support. We started a Facebook page. We have over 50 members. That's just since last Thursday. And then we have interest from the Press and Argus and the Hartland Patch on it too. So we started talking, and people were very interested. We're here today to ask, like I said, for your support as we work with MDOT, both by reiterating our requests with them and possibly by facilitating a meeting between MDOT and concerned residents, attended by a board member, maybe, and to help us educate residents on the local traffic laws, because specifically at the Blaine Road intersection, it's a misunderstanding of the laws that's causing the problem. It seems simple, but a lot of us have been driving for a long time, and we forgot our basic rules that we learned in driver's ed. While we're working with MDOT, we were wondering if we could get an additional patrol in the area to police these spots, because they are definitely a problem, and maybe a little bit of a police presence would prevent people from making that illegal U-turn and causing such a problem. So you guys all know these are headache spots, and we understand that MDOT has already made changes and they're trying to improve it, but this is a dangerous source of road rage in our community, and I don't like it when my neighbors show me an inappropriate gesture, you know? So before anyone is seriously injured, we would like to work with you guys and MDOT and try to fix it. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think a few of you know me already. I'm Diane Petronio. I live off of Long Lake. I'm part of that Hartland Moms group, and I'm also part of the Hartland Traffic group, just because there are definite concerns. I think we need to review it we have to react to things. It's taking a step back and looking at it. This was designed with the thought that there would be a big shopping center on the north side and a big shopping center on the south side. And as it turned out, you guys know what we have. We have Walmart and we have Myers. With any design, you come back after a period of time and you say, what's working, what's not working, and let's address what's not working. And for those of us who pass through those intersections every day, we can tell you, and I'm sure each of you have had your own experience of what is not working. So I think maybe now's the time to come back and reevaluate what we have in place. And I mean, there are some things. We do have some traffic flow that's actually moving well, but there's also things that are coming about. I don't even need to give you the examples. I'm sure you all have experienced it. You know, when they designed it, they did it with a simulation. But a simulation, a computer simulation, and coming from a software background, I get that. You can only simulate so far. You can't account for the variables of people who are texting, people who aren't in the moment, people who don't read signs or don't bother, or conversations, and all that. I don't need to pay attention to that because there's nobody policing the area. So we need to take a bigger look and say, what can we change to make this safer? One of the primary things, we have Blaine Road, as was mentioned before, the left turn on Yield. If you're coming northbound on Blaine, you take your life in your own hands if you turn when there's traffic that started to go, because they'll come all the way across. They have Burger King in mind. They see nothing else. They see Walmart. They see whatever's on that south side, and they're just going. And if you're in their way, you better stop, So Hartland Road, same kind of issue. I've seen a few accidents. I've seen more near misses. And I thought, as I was coming up here, I thought it would be interesting to look at statistics of what the car crashes were prior to the development relative to what they are now. But unfortunately, there is no tracking of I almost got T-boned by this person coming through here. So I think we have an opportunity. We don't have the answers. Obviously, you all don't have the answers. I don't think that we have necessarily civil engineers as part of this group, but you have the resources available to work with a group of people that can do that, can evaluate what's working, what's not, monitor the traffic flow, and say, we can make these improvements. I know I've seen some injury accidents. I'd like to see this addressed prior to something critical, somebody being paralyzed or a fatality, because if it hasn't happened in the recent past, my guess is it's going to happen soon, because there's just going to be increasing volumes of traffic. So let's not miss the opportunity to make an improvement where we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Colleen Wesley. I live in Hartland Shores, and I'm also a member of the Hartland Moms Group, and I'm here as representative of my neighborhood association. Talking about the traffic flow. Definitely supporting everything that Melanie and Diane just mentioned, but I also wanted to make comment on something that was brought up in one of the social blogs in regards to that it may be the violators may be all from out of town. I don't believe that that's necessarily the truth. And the reason being is from the contacts I've had with Hartland Moms, which again, it's 1,200 members, there's a lot of confusion as to what the laws actually are. There's heated discussion back and forth as to the rights and responsibilities of the drivers maneuvering through those intersections. And I feel that we need to come together and reach our drivers, educate them, bring public awareness as to what these laws are. We need to contact our media. We need to maybe post it on the Hartland Township website. We need to reach these drivers and educate them as to what these traffic laws are. I strongly do support contacting the Sheriff's Department and contracting maybe a traffic detail a couple of times to educate the members that are violating the traffic laws. The deputy always has a choice of either giving a verbal warning with education as to what the law is or writing a citation. It's up to him, but I would definitely like to see some of that as well. I do believe that there are, at the Hartland Road left turn, I do believe that probably those violators are mostly from out of the area. So in taking a step back and figuring out why is that occurring, what has come to my attention is that GPS units are instructing drivers to turn at that intersection. It's an incorrect direction coming exactly from GPS units. So these people from out of town, unfamiliar with the area, they've got a voice telling them to turn left. They're going to get in those lanes, and once they get in the lane, it's too hard for them to maneuver out of. They're committed. They will either go straight through and try to do a U-turn, or they'll just go ahead and take their chances and turn left. So what can we do? Well, there's two main software companies for GPS that will they've got departments that will make corrections to their software to update, to make public awareness, to continue down further on M59, to make the legal left-hand turn. But they're not going to listen to me, Colleen Wesley from Hartland Shores. They're going to listen to you. You guys have the power to make those changes, and just reaching out and maybe making a phone call or filling out a simple form to let them know that there's an error occurring in their software here in our township. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else tonight? Thank you for your input this evening. If there's nobody else to call to the public, we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is approval of our consent agenda.
So moved.
Support. Motion by Treasurer Horning, second by Trustee Harper. Any discussion?
Should it be noted something was added? I don't know if clerk...
Oh, from our previous
Item D.
agenda?
Yeah, from what was originally
We added
published.
Number D, there was some,
I think we, at least for the audience, because we don't typically, we won't speak during our call to the public. It's your opportunity. We do have a section on here, safer roads and pathways. So we will, I hope that's an opportunity that we can kind of discuss this issue that has been brought at the call to the public. It'll give us an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about that. Is that the plan?
I think we can incorporate that. I think it'd be a good idea.
All right.
that'll be in our work session. I had a motion and a second for the consent agenda, and we added number D. We approved that at our last meeting, but there was some information in there that was incorrect, so we had to put it back on tonight's agenda to have it done properly. So that was not on our previous agenda that was sent out. Is there any discussion on that? Being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 8, we have no pending business this evening. Number 9, we have no new business this evening. We'll move to item number 10, which is board reports. This is our first meeting in October, and we start with Clerk Hopkins.
I don't, I certainly, I guess, congratulate Hartland community on Heritage Day, which happened back September 21st. I thought it was a pretty good turnout. Kind of threatened early weather-wise, but after that, it ended up being a great event, and I think the township was well-received being there. I hope we continue to have a presence at those types of events. That's it.
Thank you. And thank you for spending most of the day down there at our booth. That was very nice of you to do that. Treasurer Horning?
Nothing except the farmers market is going all through October, and the gourds and the squash, pumpkins, corn stalks. It's a great time up there. It's bigger than ever and well received, and the people, more people and more vendors. So come on out through the end of October.
Thank you. Trustee Kalani?
I have nothing to report tonight.
Trustee Harper?
No report.
Trustee Petrucci?
I want to give you an update on the fire training, the Fire Officers Training Center at the Hero Building. Everything's going as scheduled. They're in there working, I believe, right now, setting up all the simulators. They hope to have in-house training starting in a couple of weeks, and then they'll be opening the training up for other fire departments around the state of Michigan. We are one of 2 centers in the state of Michigan now. And some good news came from General Motors Proving Grounds. Adam had requested if they could get a cab of a pickup truck to use on a simulator as part of the training program. Well, it went through all of the approval process over there, and General Motors is building one for the fire department. And they have their engineers working on it right now, so it's going to be a working cab that they'll have inside one of the offices there, that everything will work on it so they can use it during their training session. I thought it's going to cost thousands of dollars to do this, and I thought the community should know that General Motors is doing that for the fire department.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a really good thing. So that's the update on that, and hopefully everything will go as scheduled, and we'll see some other fire departments coming into our community for training within 30 days.
Hey, Joe, can you explain to the community about this training program? And it's kind of unique, right? I mean, there's no other...
Well, there's 2... prior to the grant that they received, the closest fire officer training center was in Indiana. So all of the fire departments in the state of Michigan and around the Midwest had to go to Indiana for their training. And they're required to keep their training up all the time, and they have to go through this process. So Chief Adam Carroll put in for a grant to have the training center located here in Hartland, and he got the grant. And at the same time, West Bloomfield Fire Department was also doing the same thing, so they have the grant as well. But the difference between the Hartland and the West Bloomfield group is that in the state of Michigan, there are more on-call fire departments than any other type of fire department. So not everybody has the luxury of going to training during work hours. The full-time firefighters can do that, but the on-calls, they typically can't take off work unless they take vacation time. So Adam expects that our training center here in Hartland is going to be very busy, and they take, I think, 8 to 10 officers at a time. So we'll be seeing a lot of different groups coming through the community, and I think that's a really another shining star for our community. So thanks to Adam Carroll and his group over there.
Anything else, Joe?
That's it.
I have no report this evening. Manager Wickman?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Provided the operational reports end of last week, and I didn't have anything specific to highlight this evening. Happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Any questions for the operational reports? Being none, we will take a brief recess, and then we'll start our work session.